than they were before, because for a while there we thought we were on autopilot. It felt like we were going to have a big Rose Garden party at any moment. All of that was erased, but we're back on track. The two leaders are meeting. What should we be anticipating here?
Yeah, so first of all, Bob Lighthizer is completely right about what China's been doing the last several decades. Diplomacy hasn't worked. The tariffs are working. So what we're going to have to see from this G20 summit is we're not going to see a deal, unfortunately, not this time around. But what we will see is President Trump and President Xi meeting for the first time since that executive order that effectively blacklisted Huawei. And what we're going to see is maybe some type of discussion about removing Huawei from that blacklist, that entity list. The other 5 entities that were just added to that list, maybe walking that back, but also maybe staving off that threat of the $300 billion of the Chinese goods and having tariffs imposed on those. So what we're also going to see, which is a very significant development, Charles, is that President Xi, Russian President Putin, and Prime Minister of India, Modi, will all be meeting to find a way to work together to fight against President Trump's America First agenda. So again, like Sun Tzu said, when you're strong, you have to appear weak. When you're weak, you have to appear strong.
So, Chris, I want to pick up on this thing with Huawei. The 5 other companies last week that were added to the list, those companies revolved around supercomputing. And now there's talk that the United States may actually ask our European allies not to make any 5G equipment inside of China, so further isolating that industry. On the flip side, a good piece in Foreign Affairs suggesting that Xi, if he really wants to stay in power, has to deliver a singular promise to the Chinese people that would involve the ability to continue improvements in the tech area. So this might be ultimately the ultimate weapon for America.
Yeah, so Charles, the way that President Trump handles China is going to be a defining moment in the United States history. It's going to be a defining moment, certainly in his presidency. So this 5G requirement that all components that are sold in the United States or used in the United States be manufactured outside of China is a brilliant idea. It does a couple of things. So first of all, number one, we are a fair trade nation. We're a free trade nation. But we have to understand that China still has not agreed to end cyber espionage as it stands now. So what this would do is it would do 2 things. It would curb that cyber espionage. It would curb the spying of Chinese and prevent them from being able to do that. And then number 2, it would reorient the supply chain away from China to maybe some allies that don't participate in this bad action like China does. A welcome byproduct, of course, is that it adds more chips to the table in this negotiation, this ongoing negotiation with China.
Right.
The more chips we have to play with, the more that we can have a better outcome.
Chris, I had Peter Navarro on this show on Friday, and he made a lot of great points. I want to share one of them with you right now.
What we have is a rock-solid economy. We've got very bullish financial markets. We've got a rare bipartisan support on Capitol Hill and in the general public for the China tariffs. And let's see what happens. I'm confident that the president, with Ambassador Robert Lighthizer at his side, will do the right thing. We either get a great deal or we don't.
Chris, what do you make of the fact that Peter Navarro is right? The economy is rock solid. GDP is much better than anticipated. Wages are soaring. The market hit an all-time high on Thursday. And yet it's the business community that's becoming more and more vocal against President Trump.
Well, I mean, I think we were going to expect this, but Peter Navarro was right. I think Bob Lighthizer are both right. The tariffs have worked, but right now, as Peter was saying, right now is the time that we have to take advantage of our strong economy to force China to play fair. We have a little bit of a buffer now to be able to absorb some of the impact from, let's say, retaliatory tariffs, as the Chinese have shown with targeting key areas that are President Trump's support base, like soybean farmers in the heartland of America.
Right.
But I think that the more education that happens, the more Americans that understand what is at stake, what national security implications are, the more Americans that are going to be supporting President Trump's ultimate agenda, which is America first and playing with fair, free, and reciprocal trade.
Chris, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Charles.
And a new poll finds more Americans than ever are calling immigration America's top problem as President